Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Sean Gleason, and I'm the CEO of the Professional Bull Riders. I've been with the PBR for about 20 years. Many brilliant and visionary people have contributed to the remarkable success and the rise of the PBR over the years. And while I have made some contributions, today I'm standing before you simply as the witness to our rise and how we see that as it relates to WCRA. Because of my profession, I'm also an avid student of the Western lifestyle and Western sports. I was raised in a rural community, and I spent most of my youth on the back of a horse. So I'm not just a student of the sport, I'm a product of it. Like the vast majority of people raised in the lifestyle, I left it for the big city, where I spent 15 years in music, video, and computer games before I found my way back. And I don't expect you to take everything that I have to say on face value, but I have been around the block a couple of times, and I do have some experience when it comes to Western sports and the Western lifestyle. Scott Davis is going to explain what WCRA is in greater detail a little later today, but I want to talk to you a little bit about why we believe WCRA is important for the rodeo industry and PBR. And a little spoiler alert, there is no groundbreaking or brand new revelations coming from me, and much of this will be obvious to many of you. This isn't rocket science. It's rodeo, bull riding, and Western sports. The industry has made it into a complicated mess over the years, but the business underlying it is not that complicated. And what I hope you get from today is an understanding of the opportunities we see and intend to address in Western sports, and particularly rodeo. And most importantly, why you should support WCRA and PBR in these efforts. I'll dive into the specifics on our view of rodeo in a minute. First, I think it's important that everybody understand that the challenges that the industry faces today really stem from the fact that the entire Western lifestyle is under attack. Farming, ranching, rural living, and all elements that we would associate with the Western lifestyle are in decline. The cowboy hat's out of fashion. About a dozen years ago, before our first event in Madison Square Garden, I was walking down the street in New York City. About a half a block ahead, a mom was walking with her kids, and they started pointing and talking to their mom excitedly. And I turned around and looked behind me, and there's this guy with a purple mohawk, face tattoos, ear piercings, and he was dressed to match. And I thought, thank God I'm not the oddball that they're pointing at. As the kids got closer, they were in fact pointing at me in my cowboy hat. They hadn't seen a cowboy in real life, but they'd seen plenty of punk rockers with purple mohawks. You know, that's the reality. It's been decades since the average person on the streets of American cities has been exposed to rodeo and cowboys. They recognize the cowboy hat, know what it represents, but they don't understand who we are, what we stand for, and that we aren't just some cult that lives in the flyover states and was long since forgotten. Should be no great mystery that the sports associated with the lifestyle are being challenged. Rodeo fell out of favor with mainstream America a long time ago, but I am absolutely convinced, based on my experience, that doesn't have to be the case. PBR has proven it. It's also important to note that those in the industry who view PBR and PRCA, or rodeo in general, as competitors or some dramatically different product are just plain wrong. PBR's roots run deep in rodeo. We wear cowboy hats, we ride animals, we compete on dirt, and we celebrate the Western lifestyle across America. To the vast majority of Americans, and a lot of other people around the world, though, we are one and the same. PBR has never, and I mean never, viewed rodeo as a competitor. And we are committed to doing what we can to bring unity to the industry. The last thing that the industry needs is to be more fractured. There's been plenty of fracturing over the years. And we are presently working directly with the PRCA to explore a path that could bring all of this together. George Taylor and I have met several times since he joined the PRCA, and we'll be meeting again later this month, along with Gary McKinney, to keep exploring the ways that we can make the industry and the sport of rodeo stronger. But the industry needs an agent of change, an agent of positive change. My first meeting with the PRCA to explore opportunities to work together was with Steve Hatchell. For those of you that have been around, you know how long ago that was. Then numerous meetings with Troy Ellerman, countless get-togethers with Carl Stressman. PBR has proposed partnership opportunities to the PRCA every couple of years over the past 20, And I know that for a fact because I wrote every presentation, I said every meeting, and I was there in every one of those conversations. While we have never viewed the PRCA as competition, I can't say that the reverse is true. For whatever reason, many in the rodeo community seem to think that we are the enemy. And I'm here to tell you, it's not a binary choice. We are not the enemy. Rodeo is stronger today because the PBR has been successful. And we, the PBR, will be stronger if rodeo reverses its trends and becomes popular again in the mainstream. I believe George Taylor recognizes that as well, and I'm hopeful that he can also be an agent of positive change. But as agents of positive change and for-profit businesses, PBR and WCRA can't compromise the core business drivers that we believe are critical to our success just because somebody else wants to be in charge or think that their way is better. Can we compromise? Absolutely. Can we compromise the fundamentals of our business that we believe are critical to the success and health of our businesses? No. You know, PBR has been fortunate to not have to serve multiple masters and cater to widely varying opinions about how we should move forward. Our success is undeniable. WCRA is making a significant investment in the rodeo business, and it isn't for charity. But that shouldn't be feared by the industry. It should be embraced. The rodeo industry needs a force to move it forward. It's been stuck in neutral or reverse for a long time, and no disrespect intended to the PRCA. But the organization just isn't positioned, chartered, or equipped to do it on their own. Not that they can't do it, but they can't do it on their own. As a matter of fact, no individual constituent engaged in the business of rodeo is in a position to do it on their own, and the PBR and WCRA are not going to be able to be successful on our own. I told somebody a long time ago, because of the fractures and the challenges in rodeo, that if I got into the business, just shoot me in the back of the head. And over the last year, I've been looking over my shoulder a lot because I can't remember who I told, and I'm afraid that they're going to remember it. So here we are. It's time for PBR to get into the business. We're not getting into the rodeo business to control it or take it over. We're not getting into the rodeo business to tell everybody how it should be done. We are not getting into the rodeo business to profit at the expense of others. And we are most assuredly not getting into the business to hurt the PRCA or establish rodeo events. We are getting into the business because we believe there's incredible opportunity for rodeo. We visit dozens of cities across the country each year. We get from Maine to California and Florida to Washington. We spend time in New York City and Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We see hundreds of thousands of people and hear from hundreds of thousands more through social media and direct contact in our office. We know a significant percentage of the people in this country, and by my personal estimation, not scientific, about half, are looking for something real, something wholesome, something American, and that's regardless of where they live now or how they were brought up. They not only share our values, they crave them. PBR is being embraced by millions of those people. We are proving the concept. I believe rodeo might be an even more authentic product than ours to meet that need. But regardless, the opportunity is real, the opportunity is significant, and the opportunity is right now. A PBR and WCRA partnership is uniquely positioned to take advantage of those opportunities. PBR chose to align with the WCRA because it is the first entity entering the rodeo space that isn't just trying to grab a share of a shrinking pie and do it the same and grab that share. We had the opportunity to help craft a business plan to ensure it fit with our objectives at PBR. We shared Gary McKinney's vision that we can bring positive change to the industry. And we are inspired by Gary's commitment to bring investment to an industry that desperately, desperately needs it. We aligned with WCRA because we believe they're in it for all the right reasons. We aligned with WCRA because their success will lift all boats higher and create more opportunities for everybody associated with the industry, including the PBR. And WCRA chose to align with PBR because we have experience and expertise when it comes to the fundamentals that will make a WCRA business successful. If you're thinking about getting into the rodeo business or any other sports business, now is the time to take notes. This is the secret sauce after 20 years of doing this. Provide an engaging sports and entertainment experience. Sell tickets, maximize media exposure, monetize it if you can, Leverage your live event and media audience to sell sponsorships and advertising. Ensure the prosperity of your athletes on both sides of on both sides of either rope, because they are your product. Adapt and change as the market demands it, and use all of that to develop, engage, and maintain fans. Now, I warned you at the beginning, there were no great revelations, and this wasn't rocket science, and it really is that simple. Those are the simple ingredients to making a successful Western sports business. And if you were expecting more, this is a free meeting with a free lunch, so sorry that that's all you get. At the heart of it, WCRA is designed to address all of those levers. WCRA is going to be an event promoter in partnership with PBR. WCRA is making a significant investment and a firm commitment to establish new large payout rodeos. Together, PBR and WCRA will create 4 new $1 million rodeos in conjunction with major PBR events each year. Each of the 4 rodeos will be preceded by a $500,000 semifinals that will determine the contestants who advance to compete for the share of the $1 million purse. All totaled, WCRA will deliver $6 million in prize money to the industry as a result of the investment. PBR has a proven track record building large format Western lifestyle events. On some level, we do it every weekend of the year in cities all across America. Specifically, with respect to our plans with WCRA, we executed Randy Bernard's vision to create the American. We embraced it on the same weekend as PBR's Iron Cowboy event at AT&T Stadium and have produced it every year since. It was PBR's 6 years of experience in the stadium and our dirt, steel, lights, video, sound, TV, personnel, other production resources that really provided the foundation for that event to exist. We'll leverage the same proven formula to create these 4 WCRA events, roughly 1 each quarter in different cities across the country. Got a quick video to show you, just reminding you of our success at AT&T Stadium.
3, 2, 1, let's go! It is a huge night for the 2018 PBR campaign. Hey, check this out. Texas, what do you got?
You know, all of the credit for the success of the American belongs to Randy and RFD for the vision and the risk that they assumed to make the American one of the only significant investments in a new rodeo in decades. But PBR certainly played an important role given our experience and our resources. I wish I could tell you today that we were going to move forward with the American as an integrated part of our strategy with WCRA, but despite tireless efforts to align the agendas, we just couldn't reach an agreement around scheduling and other matters that made sense to both parties. So in 2019, the PBR Iron Cowboy and the American will be conducted on separate weekends. We're moving forward with our agenda with WCRA and other markets. Geographic expansion and the accessibility of rodeo are critical to rebuilding a national interest in America's first sport. You can't expect people in an area of the country that has limited access to rodeo to embrace it, understand it, and ultimately become fans. Rodeo must be accessible before you can begin the hard work of building an audience that'll pay to see it and one that'll follow it as a sport. To many, the idea of taking a rodeo east of the Mississippi River is a fool's errand. They will gladly point out that there are no rodeos east of the Mississippi, near those major markets, which is then deemed to be proof that there isn't any demand for it. If that were true, then PBR wouldn't be celebrating 12 years in Madison Square Garden. We wouldn't be selling out Allstate Arena in Chicago. We wouldn't be setting records in St. Louis, Columbus, and certainly not Portland and Bangor, Maine. Yes, PBR is a different product, but we built a Western sports fan base from nothing by making the events accessible, and then we worked really hard to build that audience. The same people who tell you that rodeo won't work are the same ones that said bull riding wouldn't work. The same people will tell you that the fans abandoned rodeo, and that's why the events don't exist anymore. I believe that rodeo abandoned the fans in most of those places. We're working with the WCRA to identify new markets where we can take large format rodeos and make them successful. Unfortunately, there are a lot of options and a lot of places that need rodeo events. We have aspirations to bring rodeo and PBR to iconic places like Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta or Soldier Field in Chicago. That doesn't mean that every event is going to start out in a stadium like AT&T. We need to walk before we run. It also doesn't mean we are going to have a 100% success rate. Failure is one step on the ladder to success, and we should know PBR has made plenty of mistakes over the years. Most of them are my fault. The industry should be embracing any event promoter that wants to create new events and take chances on the rodeo product. I can assure you there aren't many organizations out there right now that are willing to do that. We've been talking with the PRCA directly about focusing on areas of the country where rodeo needs to be reintroduced. That is not only opportunistic for WCRA, bringing events that there isn't as much competition, it's good for the industry. And hopefully that dialogue will continue positively with the PRCA. And when I say that rodeo abandoned the fans, it's because every product must adapt to the changing taste of its customers, and rodeo hasn't changed its product in about 100 years. And frankly, holding on to history for the sake of history while consumer tastes are changing, it's a recipe for obsolescence. As I see it, consumer taste changed, rodeo didn't change, consumers stopped spending their money to attend rodeos, and rodeos went out of business. If the demand had completely evaporated, PBR would not be successfully selling tickets in virtually any market that we go into. The rodeo product needs to evolve and meet the demands of the consumer, which will vary from market to market. So with all due respect to the contestants, calf roping will not go over well in Madison Square Garden or most of the major markets, especially east of the Mississippi. Is holding on to calf roping a good reason for rodeo to abandon a market? I don't think so. If the rest of the rodeo disciplines are an appealing product, fix the problem with the product. Don't abandon the market. Don't abandon the fans. The unyielding principles and the inability of the sanctioning organizations to recognize the needs of local event promoters are among some of the reasons why 3 of the biggest rodeos in the world are not sanctioned by the PRCA. You can't blame Houston, Salt Lake City, and Calgary. They responded to the desires of their customers and the needs of their business. But WCRA isn't in the sanctioning business. We don't even have rules. WCRA has adopted a business strategy that will accommodate any event format with aligned partners so long as that competition format is very credible. When it comes to the event formats of the events that we're going to produce and promote, we're going to continue to experiment until we find the right formula for each market and each opportunity. This weekend is an 8-man progressive format. It does feature all 7 traditional rodeo disciplines, and it culminates in a head-to-head match in each discipline. That's going to make for a very good media-friendly product, which I'll talk more about in a minute. That format would not presently be approved by the PRCA, despite the fact that it was structured to meet the needs of the consumer. As a marketer who's spent the last 20 years building a Western sport, it just baffles me. But at the heart of it, everyone should recognize that if your business isn't structured to be a marketing or media company, you're not going to be very good at it. It's also important to note that should we find ourselves in a situation where one or more of the traditional disciplines need to be cut from an event, WCRA plans to offer opportunities to those contestants in a market that is appropriate. Nothing says we can't serve the athletes in the sport. That flexibility will allow WCRA to adapt the rodeo product to meet the demands of the consumer or create alliances with forward-thinking events that already understand that reality. It doesn't need to fundamentally change the essence of rodeo. And here's another very important thing. Media is the key to this sport's success. Media is the key to every sport's success. There hasn't been any meaningful coverage of rodeo, at least outside of the NFR, in decades. Last year, PBR put The American on CBS network television for the first time that a rodeo has been on network TV since the late 70s or early 80s. The broadcast delivered about 1.2 million viewers and ranked among the top sports on that weekend. That was on a week-delayed basis. That isn't a fluke, folks. That is proof that there is a demand for rodeo across America and that media is an important avenue to expose the sport to new fans. And one of the primary reasons that PBR aligned with WCRA was around the media opportunities we see for rodeo. In 2015, PBR was acquired by Endeavor, formerly WME-IMG. Endeavor owns UFC, Miss Universe, Rallycross, the Miami Open Tennis Tournament, and a host of other sports and entertainment properties. We are also one of the largest talent representation agencies and TV and film packages in the world. To say that Endeavor is uniquely positioned to bring expertise and capabilities to the Western sports industry is an understatement. So while the PBR is on the forefront of this initiative, we are an Endeavor company. I am an Endeavor employee. We will bring our unique ability to create, produce, package, and place rodeo coverage and important athlete storytelling to advance the sport in media. If we can make Bonner Bolton a fashion model and put him on Dancing with the Stars, we can accomplish almost anything. I've got a quick video summarizing some of our media accomplishments.
Stress enough. This is not going to be over. Yeah, the time is definitely now, and we've seen in the past what this event can do.
Champ needs my help.
Get in your truck! Go!
It's all because the professional bull riders have ridden into town.
Two months ago, PBR launched Ride Pass, the first network on the proprietary Endeavor digital platform, and subsequently, Endeavor bought a company called New Lion. They're the leader in providing OTT network services, support, and marketing to sports properties. With New Lion now a wholly owned entity, Endeavor has the most progressive digital sports platform in the industry. And if you haven't been following the trends in traditional television, you need to. Digital over-the-top networks are the future of media distribution. RidePass is a 24/7 Western sports digital network and one of PBR's most important strategic initiatives. We will be the most comprehensive source of Western sports content, period. I've already signed a number of exciting partnerships with great organizations like the National High School Rodeo, the Indian National Finals, and we've got some exciting rodeo news coming up in a minute. RidePass will always be the exclusive digital home for everything PBR. Nobody else will ever have that. We remain hopeful that others in the industry will recognize our strengths as a media company and join us. We want to leverage that expertise to bring new value to the entire industry, not take it away from anyone. WCRA is an important part of that strategy. We need those large format rodeos. We are not acquiring rights to rodeos and Western sports properties just to offer them exclusively on RidePass. TV still plays an important role in the media landscape, and it'll be many, many years before an exclusive digital network platform can reach everybody that needs to be reached. And as a real-world, right-now example of our vertical media strategy, our ability to bring positive change to the industry, I am proud to announce that PBR has finalized a deal to bring 2 rodeos to network television this year on CBS. In July, PBR will produce an hour of network coverage from the Days of 47 rodeo, and will produce an hour of network coverage from the Calgary Stampede that will air on July 21st and July 28th. In addition, we just finalized a deal to produce a daily update show for CBS Sports Network from both events. That's 15 new programs covering rodeo alone. And Ride TV will simulcast the RidePass coverage from rounds of the Days of 47 this year. You'll be hearing a lot of news about Ride TV and their growth in the coming months. RidePass will broadcast every minute of every performance from every rodeo we align with live. And it's important to note, we are not just taking an arena feed and streaming it over the internet. We have trucks, talent, teams, and they produce very engaging programming and professional sports coverage from these iconic events. Our recent efforts will result in more rodeo coverage and audience reach from just 2 great rodeo events this year than people have had access to in total over the last 5. And we're just getting started. We've entered into a multi-year agreement with CBS and CBS Sports Network and are working on a long-term agreement with Ride TV. In 2019, we'll put a minimum of 4 rodeos on network television, including the coverage from the WCRA promoted events. Media accessibility is the most critical element of our plan to grow the rodeo fan base. You have to have phenomenal events in the right places, but as I always point out with PBR's Media First strategy, we serve and entertain 10 to 20,000 people a night at our live events. We serve and entertain 500,000 to 1.5 million with every broadcast. You just can't just put any rodeo on network TV and expect it to deliver an audience. You need a great storyline, and the stakes need to matter. WCRA is offering the magic number of $1 million in prize money at all of the 4 major events. The stakes are certainly high enough. You need highly credible competition platform that delivers the best contestants. Offering the most money will ultimately attract the best contestants. And WCRA's system in the semifinal events will ensure that the cream rises to the top. To be credible, it isn't about who is the most popular, it has to be about who is the best on any given Sunday. You need a format that makes great TV, especially if you have a 1-hour network window. WCRA's flexibility in embracing virtually any credible format makes that possible. We have to build a media-first strategy for rodeo that isn't handcuffed by history. You need to celebrate, recognize, and build stars. WCRA and the PBR machine will work together to bring that to life in the sport of rodeo. Competition dictates who should be a star, but media exposure makes them a star. We're good at that. And you need to know how to produce media content. World-class content is even better. PBR certainly has that covered. As we successfully build a new, appreciative, and passionate rodeo fan base through the events, star development, media coverage, we will have something to offer to corporate partners looking to market their products and services to an eager and passionate fan base. And I'd like to recognize our friends at Ariat for being the first ever WCRA sponsor, and we can't thank you enough. Scott will talk in more detail about the WCRA mobile app and the plans to use innovative technology to revolutionize an ages-old paradigm in rodeo. It's an extremely important component of the WCRA business plan. The technology provides a one-click option for contestants to enter with aligned events, nominate as we prefer to call it, their runner ride for a share of the $6 million in annual prize money WCRA is offering. The nomination does not negatively affect entry fees for the event they're competing in, doesn't require any processing or bookkeeping by the event secretary, and is completely voluntary. In fact, we can even offer this opportunity at any event that makes their results public, whether it's aligned or not. The WCRA technology solution provides a platform for every ride to count, not just once, but twice. And I was talking with someone the other day in the industry, and they were being a little critical of the WCRA plan. And the context of the criticism was essentially that all WCRA was doing was creating a big jackpot system where entry fees were being dragged to offset the prize money that was being offered. I had to laugh. First of all, it's absolutely correct. For as long as anyone can remember, entry fees have been an integral part of rodeo and the entirety of Western sports for that matter. Entry fees are the lifeblood of the industry right now. But every single event is a jackpot with some added money if the promoter can afford it. But the really funny part of this discussion was that the person that was criticizing me conducts an event where they have a $250 entry fee to run at $7,000 in prize money per discipline. So the cost of entries may change based on our business goals and objectives, but we're trying to target $100 to $150 average cost of entry, which provides a direct path to a $500,000 rodeo and a direct path to a $1 million rodeo. And if you keep winning, it's a direct path to the lion's share of $6 million. And lest anyone think WCRA is just dragging prize money, Gary McKinney has guaranteed the $500,000 and $1 million prizes regardless of the nomination revenues and the payouts. It's hard to imagine that the contestants won't embrace the WCRA opportunity to compete for that kind of money. And we once again have proof of concept with the American. Contestants are paying $500 for a shot at a share of $2 million in prize money, and there are an estimated 3,500 to 4,000 entries for the American each year. Well, I've spent most of the time talking very specifically about rodeo, which is the product that we need to support. The WCRA business plan is focused on all Western sports. There are about 200,000 total entries in professional rodeo between the PRCA, IPRA, and others. Membership and entries have been in decline. There are roughly 750,000 total entries in the independent disciplines, driven largely by barrel racing, team roping, and bull riding, and the independent disciplines are thriving outside of rodeo. PBR, the World Series of Team Roping, MBHA, and others are great examples of that. The WCRA system is designed to offer a path for athletes of all levels to any credible Western sports competition to nominate, compete, and qualify for the semifinal events. The system is tiered to ensure the competitive balance, and the semifinal events will separate the best from the rest. But the aspirations of Western sports athletes to compete for millions on a major stage is what has kept rodeo alive through all these challenges. WCRA is simply bringing technology innovation, a lower cost to entry, a higher return, and a clear path to the riches and recognition to an already well-established paradigm in rodeo. You have to pay to play. As time passes, WCRA grows. I expect that it will follow a similar path to the PBR. The athletes in our top two tours no longer pay entry fees. So as we celebrate the 25th anniversary this season, we have proudly paid out at PBR $180 million to bull riders since our inception. J.B. Mooney is the richest Western sports athlete in history with over $7 million in prize money, and that doesn't count the endorsements, the other income that he's earned from his fame as a PBR bull rider. I'm confident that 25 years from today, the individuals running PBR and WCRA will stand before an audience like you and announce that PBR has paid out more than $1 billion in prize money to bull riders and that WCRA is not far behind in payouts to rodeo contestants. If you want the sport of rodeo and the Western lifestyle itself to flourish, you should hope that we are successful. Your support would be even better. I'll hand it over to Scott. Thank you for being here.
we're announcing a $6 million major event series. That series will consist of 4 $1 million rodeos, 4 $500,000 semifinals. They'll be held in conjunction with PBR major events. They'll be produced and promoted by the PBR. That's a 43% increase immediately in 2019 in $1 million opportunities for athletes. Our semifinals will affect the industry with an even greater increase at 67%, bumping the total rodeos offering a purse of $500,000 or more to over 20. I want to bring up Tommy Joe Lucia, the general manager of the Days of 47 Rodeo, to tell you a little more about our partnership with them.
This system fits perfectly in the structure and the brand of what the Days of 47 is all about. We've worked very hard to negotiate deals that ensure that anybody that has the talent and the incentive and the want to can come, follow a path, and get to Utah in July and compete for big money.
It's also important for us today to recognize several other alliances that we've been very fortunate to make.
My name is Gary McKinney, and today I'm speaking to you from my ranch in Llano, Texas. In rodeo, we all want the same thing, a strong, vibrant, growing sport. Being in the same room begins the process of joining together as one single-minded, unstoppable group to tackle our problems head-on, and more importantly, to seize opportunities right in front of us. Some of you may know that my son Micah and I enjoy team roping, so we have had the opportunity to be around many rodeo competitors and hear firsthand the challenges rodeo competitors face. I love rodeo and I want to help. To do so, I'm committing significant time and personally investing in the new WCRA alliance with PBR. WCRA's vision and philosophy is pretty simple. We want to make every ride count, meaning we want to reward full-time professional athletes for competing at the best, highest-paying, most competitive rodeos. We also want to give part-time and future stars of our sport an opportunity at the same outcome as professional athletes. We have listened to all sides, and we have worked diligently to develop and advance the sport of rodeo by aligning all levels of competition. The PBR shares our same passion. We are excited to join forces to create new opportunities for the entire rodeo industry. For over 25 years, the PBR has shown the sports world how to produce exciting events all over the country. Their marketing ability of those events, plus telling compelling athlete and stock contractor stories, has generated exposure beneficial to everyone connected to the sport. PBR is as much a media company as an events company, now investing in Ride Pass, a new Western sports digital network that is an extraordinary development, bringing the rodeo industry additional coverage from the high school level right through the professional ranks. In our business, big events and media coverage equals better payouts. If you remember only one stat about the PBR, it's this: $180 million. That's the dollar figure PBR has paid their athletes. That's WCRA's ultimate goal, to increase rodeo payouts through better processes, intelligently applied technology, and the creation of new rodeos, to the immediate tune of $6 million guaranteed prize money. Today you'll hear about new events, new markets, and new exposure, along with other exciting information, a new way to think about the season, a new rankings system, a new technology designed to make your lives easier, more productive, and more profitable. We founded WCRA and aligned with PBR because we see abundant opportunity for an industry that can expand and grow and provide the just rewards to the athletes that give their all. We can do that if we collaborate and set our mind on new ways of doing things. This is not WCRA versus PRCA. We are not asking you to choose WCRA events over other organizations or rodeos. No, we gather as concerned and committed caretakers of rodeo, determined to align on solutions in a non-competitive, collaborative way with existing rodeo organizations. If we do that, we can truly deliver a better product to fans, provide more opportunity for more athletes, enter new markets, and grow the entire sport. To borrow a popular phrase, we can make rodeo great again. If we can act smart, think big picture, put aside our differences, adopt some new solutions, and most of all, do it together.
You know, in my 20 years in this business, the rodeo industry has been fractured, jaded, and occasionally self-serving. It is somewhat understandable to me, given that the industry has been in decline and everyone had to fight for survival in the face of evaporating revenues and opportunities. But perpetuating that mentality won't fix the problems or rebuild a product that has so much potential and opportunity in today's world. The great athletes in the sport of rodeo deserve more and better opportunities. I won't pretend that we have all the answers, that we've got it perfectly aligned yet, or that we won't make some mistakes. But if the industry can't embrace an agent of positive change, an entity that's willing to invest in the future of rodeo with no intention of taking away opportunities from others or hurting other organizations that are trying to accomplish the same things, and a plan backed by a proven track record with an organization that has built the most successful Western sport in history, world-class media production, great events, and a fan base, a Western sports fan base all across America and in 5 countries around the world, then how will the industry address the problems? Who will be the agent of change? And when will the industry begin the Herculean task of reinvigorating America's first sport? The time is now. We are that agent of change. Our partnership with the WCRA is that agent of change. And we appreciate you being here, because communication is the first step to collaboration, and we know we can do it all together.